Committee, we will go ahead and get started. We're still waiting for some of our members to come, but they can certainly join us in progress. We have two witnesses today. My paper list is just loading. Diane Bergeron, the National Director of Government Relations and Advocacy at the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. Welcome for you coming today. And Kory Earle, former Executive Director and lifetime member of People First of Lanark County. And we will welcome opening statements from either of you. Kory, did you want to go first?
Just as I was getting some water. Shh.
I work in the restaurant business usually, and so I'm always interrupting people just after they've
That's
done.
why you became a politician,
yes.
Right? Yeah, actually, I can go through this. You do want to go first?
Fine.
Okay. So I can start, I guess?
Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. First of all, good morning, Chair and members of the Standing Committee on Procedures and Health Affairs. Let me take this opportunity for allowing us to have the opportunity to address the Fair Elections Act, certainly 2014. My name is Kory Earle. As mentioned, I've been the past president for People First of Lanark County, past executive director for People First of Lanark County, and also the honorary lifetime member. And I must say that not only do I hold those titles, but I'm privileged to represent People First of Ontario as the president, and also first vice president for People First of Canada, right across Canada. People First is a self-advocacy organization for people with intellectual disabilities. Our goal and mandate has always been to support our members on issues that they face, and without any question, to help government change policies that change the lives of people with disabilities. Just briefly, because although I hesitate to take questions, I will do that in the meantime. I want to take this moment to really thank the Minister, Pierre, and MP Scott Reid for allowing me and People First Lanark County to meet prior to this past year to talk about this Act and our input and certainly our concerns that are addressed, I will say, with gratitude in this Act today. We do support some of the Fair Elections Act without any question. However, I do want to say I do have concerns moving forward with this Act. And that there's a couple amendments that we would like to see moving forward. I would like to add more thoughts to help make this Act stronger for people with disabilities. When this Act is passed into law, there should be more added to do with people who have literacy problems, which is 42% of Canadians with people with disabilities, face literacy problems to this very day. This Act also needs to be straightened, as we are forgetting that people who have invisible disabilities are being ignored. There's a couple friendly amendments that I really think this committee should really strongly look at. It's members that we've heard from right coast to coast across Canada. In fact, Quebec brought it up as an amendment to our national board, and we're continuing to fight for this amendment to this day. We're proposing that at the advance polls and election day, you have the picture, logo, and party on the ballots, or even at the voting station. That, believe it or not, will help many people with literacy problems and people with disabilities. I think that's a friendly amendment that we're pushing for. Our national has adopted that resolution to push for that. Another amendment to this Act, we understand just this past year that people get special ballots. This Act should talk about how people can get the special ballots more clearly, whether it be during the campaigns, whether it be information sessions being held to talk about that a lot more. Or each MP should inform the people about it, as many don't know about the special ballots, and we have not learned that until this past year about the special ballots, although we encourage people to still come out on advance polls on election day. Caution to the committee that we applaud the extra advance polling day, People far too often are segregated when it comes down to elections. They have anxiety attacks. That's a huge concern amongst people who cannot be around huge crowds. And that needs to do. From working from municipal, provincial, and national elections, I can honestly say there has been improvements, but there's still 90% of work that can be achieved. Again, together we can work together. We can work to achieve the best interests of people with disabilities from coast to coast. I'd be more than happy after Diane. This is the quickest speech I've ever done in the history. But all due respect, Chair, I'll leave it up to questions and pass it over to Diane. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Mr. Earle, and it was a good short speech, but a good speech, and politicians know that. Madam Bergeron, you're next. Your opening comments, please.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to let folks know how I'm doing this presentation so you understand the technology. I'm using a talking computer, so I'm having it speak in my ear, and then I'm going to repeat it. So if the computer stutters, then I also may stutter. So deepest apologies in advance for that. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you as well to the other committee members for this opportunity to offer testimony today on behalf of CNIB. CNIB, otherwise known as the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, is a registered charity that has been offering vital services to individuals with vision loss for nearly 100 years. We are proud to provide community-based support, knowledge, and a national voice to ensure that Canadians who are blind or partially sighted can have the confidence, skills, and opportunities to fully participate in life. Whether a person is living with a disability like blindness or not, voting is a fundamental aspect of participation in a democracy. However, the ability for Canadians who are blind or partially sighted to exercise this right to vote depends heavily on the way that elections are designed and conducted. CNIB is pleased to see that accessibility is being raised as an issue for consideration in Bill C-23, and we appreciate the opportunity to offer feedback on how this bill may affect voters with vision loss. Canadians not only have a right to vote, but a right to vote in secret. The right to a secret ballot includes the right to mark one's ballot in private with no one else knowing for whom one voted. Voters in Canada also have the right to verify their choice to be sure that their ballot was marked in accordance with the voter's wishes and was not spoiled. Unfortunately, the right to a secret ballot is regularly denied to voters with vision loss in Canada. There are two primary means used to accommodate voters who are blind or partially sighted. First, election acts at all levels provide for registered voters to appoint a designate or election official to assist in the marking of a ballot based on the voter's instruction. However, this approach does not respect the right to a secret ballot. Voters who are blind or partially sighted must tell someone else, potentially a total stranger, for whom they wish to vote. The voter must trust that that person will mark the ballot in accordance with their wishes, to not intentionally or accidentally spoil the ballot, and to keep their choice forever secret. Alternatively, many election acts, including the Canadian Elections Act, require that a template be provided to electors who are blind or partially sighted to assist them to mark their ballot. Unfortunately, this template also does not provide a full and effective accommodation of the right to a secret ballot. Unless they were to show the ballot to another person, voters with vision loss cannot check to be sure that their choice was correctly recorded on the ballot or that they did not accidentally spoil their vote. The inability of voters with vision loss to exercise their right to a secret ballot is of significant concern to CNIB. Although we are extremely pleased to see that this issue is being brought forward through C-23, this bill, as is currently written, does not adequately address this issue. The appropriate solution to this problem is to make available alternate voting processes, such as voting by phone, by internet, or other accessible electronic means. The ability for the Chief Electoral Officer to test alternative voting processes has been in place since the Canada Election Act was amended in 2000. To the best of our knowledge, this type of testing has been extremely limited and has not yet opened new opportunities for voters with vision loss to exercise their rights. Bill C-23 would amend the Canada Election Act to require that the Chief Electoral Officer obtain the prior approval of the Senate and House of Commons before testing an alternative electronic voting process in an official vote. Considering that the CEO has not exercised the power to test alternative voting processes in the 14 years that it's been available, we fear that this approval process will put more burden on any Chief Electoral Officer who wishes to do so. We believe that it is unlikely that making the process more onerous will result in voters with vision loss finally realizing their right to a secret ballot. As an alternative to what is proposed in Bill C-23, CNIB recommends that the CEO be required to test an alternative electronic process in the future general election or by-election, not merely permitted to do so. Without directing the Chief Electoral Officer to test alternative electronic voting processes, we fear that further decades may pass where voters who are blind or partially sighted are denied their right to a secret ballot in a federal election. Thank you so much for listening to my comments today, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Thank you for your opening comments, and we'll go to questions from members, and we'll use a 7-minute round. In the first round, Mr. McKenzie, you're leading us off today.
Thank you, Chair. And before I start, I will share my time with Mr. O'Toole. Thank you. I just really like to compliment the panel on doing a great job here today. And Mr. Earle, your fears about being able to speak to this group are unfounded. You did a great job, and we look forward to hearing some information from you. First, your opening address was interesting in that you mentioned that you did have an opportunity to speak with the Minister and MP Scott Reid, and so you've had some opportunities on behalf of your organization to have some input. And can you directly see some fruits of that conversation, or the advantage to having been there?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for the question. Again, the Minister's availability to make approach to call us said something about the Minister and our MP Scott Reid for making that approach and move forward. You know, our members that came to the meeting were very vocal on issues, and we want to see more in the Act that dealt with disabilities. It's not just Accessibility Issue Act. It needs to be focused on all broader range of disabilities. When we seen the Act come out, we had no problem issuing another statement commending the Minister and commending Scott Reid for taking our concerns forward, and it did. I mean, we talked about extra advance poll days. We talked about, our Executive Director Diane talked about the anxiety amongst people. We had someone in a wheelchair that said, look it, you know, you talk about all these campaigns, but yet I don't see enough of campaigns to get me want to vote. I'm not excited about elections. It is a democracy. And I think to deny someone with disability shows a lack of any government to ensure that they don't vote. So has there been some outcomes? Absolutely. We are proud of that. Are there some concerns? Absolutely. And I think these concerns can be amendments in this Act, because you will then get our full support if some of these amendments are really taken seriously. I don't represent, because my name is Kory Earle, I represent people right across this country who have these concerns. So yes, we're proud of some of these changes, as I mentioned, and we're proud that the Minister, again, has taken that. We remind people, we didn't approach the Minister's office and did approach us.
Good. Thank you very much.